Oh, doggone it. Murphy's showing up during already. I thought I had everything ready to go, but evidently I missed something. So there's the commercial for one of my sponsors, Prospectors Radio. Make sure to catch them every Sunday night and on Wednesdays evenings, but that ain't what I want to do. Doggone it. All right, we got a really good guest here tonight, I believe, all the way from the land down under, New South Wales, Australia. And many of you know him as Adventure Gold, and we'll be right back right after this. YouTubers and friends.
Well, I'm over. Every day on Cricker Beat, flashing your buddy. Every day on Cricker Beat, flashing your plan.
Hey everybody, how you doing, Angelina? We have Jaren here, and of course, my partner, one of my buddies here, Dano the Mano, as he was saying to Jaren. Dano with Patrick Moore was at my house all day today for a good chunk of most of the afternoon, and we just sat out in the shop and BS'd and talked gold, and I was doing a little panning of Razor's Juno Beach, Alaska sands, and with the mini pocket pan by Gold Claw, I was playing with that and just a little spoonful at a time, and that pan was really picking her up good. Dano's high, he was there, and hi Dano.
Yes, sir. I seen it. There's a lot of flower gold in that.
Oh yeah, that's all it was. Talk about fly poop, huh?
Yeah, man. But it showed up.
Talk about, yeah, it showed up really good. Eventually I'll post those pictures. They're on my phone, and I want to save them to my laptop or my exterior hard drive and go from there. But thank you for taking those pictures for me, Dana, since you have an Apple, an iPhone, and that has a better camera than mine. Thank you for being with me tonight. We don't have Toledo Jess with us this evening. He's having some dinner with the familia. So our partner will be back Tuesday night for our show with the Relic Recoverist and the Crazy Lamp Lady and Jocelyn Elizabeth. If you're experiencing a little lag at the moment, we're having a little touch of gray with our connection with YouTube. So just hang in there and she'll get better. I know our guest wouldn't mind getting out in the bush here still today sometime. So why don't we get him out here and get this party started, huh, Dana?
Well, yeah. Nice having company.
Oh, yeah. Uh, how are you doing today, tomorrow to us? Down there, Andrew?
Yeah, good, Ed. Good, Danny A. Good to be on the show, guys.
It's great having you. It's our pleasure. It's our honor. As I've talked to you before, I want to try and get fellow prospectors in our lifestyle from all over. That guy down in Tasmania would be cool, or someone over in New Zealand or Africa, South Africa, Germany. As long as we could bridge the language barrier, that'd be a-okay in my book.
But Australians got this weird ass language that we talk, but it's pretty much still classified as English, I think, and I think we shouldn't have Tim there.
Well, we'll do our best. If you can do your best with our, as the proper Queen's English people say in England, oh, your rubbish English, your dirty English. But I'm sure you all get that down there too from the Brits, huh?
Sure do.
So you live in New South Wales. You're quite a few clicks from the coast. You said you used to live by the coast, did a little bit of surfing, and moved back to the place of your birth. And um, is that a mining area, part of New South Wales? And let's hear your story. Uh, you told me before that you've been around the mining industry all your life.
Right. I wouldn't say I've been around the mining industry all my life, but I've grown up with gold. My mother grew up in Bala, which was a gold rush town here in Australia. It's to the north of where I currently live here in Bathurst. Now, not many people know, but the gold in Australia was first discovered in what they call the Fish River, which is just outside of Bathurst. Now, it wasn't officially announced that they discovered this gold to prevent a gold rush from occurring, because they didn't want all the people that were first coming to the country to actually drop their jobs, what they were doing, and head off chasing gold, because they said it was going to destroy the economics of the country when they were trying to build it. So they actually kept the first discovery of gold secret.
How'd that go for them?
Well, because, as most of you probably know, Australia was first colonised mainly with convicts. And because convicts are convicts, I think we've still got mostly convicts here now. It's just that we don't call them convicts anymore. We call them politicians. Got around pretty quick that, yes, that they did discover gold. So it slowly leaked out. It slowly leaked around the world. And eventually we got an influx of people coming to Australia just chasing gold. So people that came to Australia as butchers or blacksmiths or tailors, they virtually left their trade and went out in the hope of making it rich out in the gold fields.
Well, it sounds like pretty much all the gold rushes from like the Carolinas to the California gold rush, Klondike, yours all kind of did the same thing. People would drop jobs from being lawyers to dentists, farmers, ranchers, and head out west to the motherlode and to seek their fortune. Um, it pretty much sounds the same there. Okay. Um, how old were you when you first got into prospecting?
I can still recall as a very young kid with my mother and father and my brothers prospecting along the Turon River out at Safala. I've still got relatives that live along the Turon River, so I've got access to land there that other people don't, like it's private land. But I say I can remember as a kid spending a lot of time in creeks and rivers with my parents and my family chasing gold. It was something that we've just grown up with. Well, I have grown up with. Now, many years ago, it wasn't illegal to dredge for gold here in New South Wales, but it is now illegal. But we one of my brothers actually owned a dredge, so we did quite a bit of dredging in a lot of the rivers and creeks around Bathurst. And I can still remember some of the gold we actually picked up with our fingers as we were dredging. It's just one of those things, you never ever forget it. It's an experience when you actually see lumps of gold that aren't like, they're not fly specks, they're like,
Right, you can pick them up.
Nuggets.
That's right, nuggets. Precious.
you never ever forget that. Like as a kid, it's just one of those things that sticks in your head. It's like, what other experiences are there in the world where you get that same thrill? And there probably are, but I tell you what, for the cost and the enjoyment, I don't think you can beat prospecting. It's just one of those things. It's always a thrill, doesn't it? It never seems to tire. You never seem to get sick of seeing that flash in your pan when you first see that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Go ahead. Andrew?
Yup. Hello.
Hello? I was afraid we lost you for a second.
Still here.
Yeah, I never get sick of that flash in your pan like you were saying. Huh? Now
Don't have to be a lot either. Just be a little bit, and it's still a good day.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you don't have to go out and find huge amounts every single time you go out. Just the fact that you're actually getting out and doing what you love doing is a thrill within itself. The gold that you get is just an added bonus.
Yep,
it is
that's what I say all the time.
I know a lot of people get disheartened when they don't get a certain quantity. They have an expectation they're going to go out and they're going to get so much gold. And when they don't reach that expectation, they take away the fun that prospecting gives you.
Ain't that the truth?
I agree 100%.
Wholeheartedly. And when I lived out in Washington, I've had a lot of guys go, "Oh yeah, I want to order this 5-inch dredge, and I'm gonna make hands over fists and money and gold." And then they find out how hard the work is, and okay, I'm not even breaking even, and they take everything out of it, just having bit the wrong way, I should say, by the gold bug, because I definitely believe it bites you, but bites you hard, and sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's kind of like Sierra Madre, Humphrey Bogart bad, you know what I mean? So,
I think prospecting really does. It shows a person's personality. It probably not so much shows it, but it actually magnifies a person's personality. If they've got a good personality to start off with, it will just enhance it. If you have and I'll just use this term loosely, a greedy personality, it will magnify that greed as well. And it shows up very quickly.
I agree. I agree with
yeah,
that.
I would have to agree with that wholeheartedly, you know. And there's the plus and the minus of that coin of prospecting. Because I've seen some people you thought were okay and could trust them, and next thing you know, it's like, oh, my precious. You
Yeah.
guys, don't you look at my gold. What, gonna steal my gold? And next thing you know, you're like, I don't think I'll ever have this person join us again.
I've gave away way more gold than I've ever sold.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Find people that are wanting to be into prospecting, make them up a quick dirt bag and give them a pan and say, here you go home, pan this, and pan it again. Don't throw it away. Keep panning it till you can't pan it no more.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I've gave a bunch of gold away, making little dirt bags up for people I know's kids or an adult that's interested in prospecting.
I think it's really good for kids to get into. So this is just my opinion, but in the world we live in, we've got too much technology. in my opinion.
We do.
And there's stuff about prospecting that you will only ever learn by going out and doing it. It won't matter how many videos you watch. It won't matter how many books you read and how much people tell you about it. You will only ever get that by going out and doing it and experiencing it.
Yep.
Now, just stuff with prospecting and just going out bush in general that I think kids really should have that experience and should be open to, because it will teach them many, many life lessons that they probably won't get anywhere else.
Oh, ain't that the truth?
We do Boy Scout demonstrations. We do painting demonstrations for the Boy Scouts when we get invited to do it.
Oh yeah,
And
kids
that's always a
kick
good
out
time.
of that.
Yep, that's a good time. See the look on their face when they see the goal.
What's funny though, Andrew, a lot of times their parents will get all weird, you know, and then they're hanging over the painting trough and they're asking us a million questions, and they're giving you these questions like, "Wow, how much is that worth? You think I could make money at that?" And you know, on, and then it kind of snowballs. Like
Aaron,
you said.
I took a friend and his children out prospecting. This is going back quite a few years ago now, and his young daughter and son were with us, and we actually went to an old area where it was actually one of the first underground mines in Australia to have power, and they actually had a generating unit running off water wheel that they dammed the creek up there. And then towards the end of the day, I said, all right, we'll go down to this creek and we'll do a bit of panning and see if we can find some gold. So we had my mate that I was working with at the time and his two kids. And his youngest daughter actually washed the first decent bit of gold that we got that day. And the father snatched the pan off her and said, "Where were you digging?" But yeah, like the enjoyment that kids priceless. Like, you can't put a figure on that.
No, you can't. You can't. And kids nowadays need to get out there.
They do. They definitely do, because I say it teaches you a lot more than just about prospecting. It teaches you a lot of life lessons that will take you a lot further in life
Yes.
than a lot of lessons.
Oh yeah, ain't that the truth? And it sure beats them sitting in front of the boob tube with the Xbox or a PlayStation or something, you know.
Right. Right. Totally engrossed in it and won't walk out the door for nothing.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool that your parents got you into it at a young age. My dad was pretty much into history and traveling, and but in a way that helps me with prospecting, because you know a lot of our lifestyle during the off season could be research, and if you like history it even makes it that much better, in my personal opinion, because then you could read about the mining history and where it was found and go visit that places. And like the ghost town in that mine you did a video on a couple weeks ago.
That stuff's neat to me.
Oh yeah.
That's Urandry.
That ghost town?
That's Urandry. That's the old silver mining ghost town.
Right. That was pretty cool. You went down and showed the stamp mill and where the stamp mill was. And were those leach bins for like cyanide leaching or something below where you said the crusher was?
I'd say you're spot on, Ed. I'd say that's what they were. They would have been leaching tanks for leaching the mineral out.
Now, can you find some silver ore laying around that mine when you're there walking around?
It took me a little while. Anyhow, I actually did find some, and I left that ore
Cool.
that I found.
Cool.
Left it to the next person that goes along that's looking for it. They'll actually be able to find it sitting right there on top of one of those. And I believe it was the base of a leach tank where I found it.
Oh, cool, cool. Now, so was that it, it looked like it was actually controlled by your park service, or do do you have like national parks and uh, state forests and stuff like we would here in the States?
Exactly the same as what you guys have got there in the States. We've got national parks, which are a no-go for any sort of prospecting. They are strictly recreational, as in the way of bushwalking, and that's about it. Your state forests, they are regulated by the State Forestry of Australia or South Wales. You can obtain a permit to do fossicking. You've got to go on the website and just have a look at areas that are sensitive that you can't go into or that they're currently logging. So a permit's like $28 for 12 months. It's nothing. It's not even a takeaway meal for two people. So money well spent, because that money goes into helping keep these areas open for people to go and enjoy, not just prospectors, but all people that go out in the bush and enjoy the outdoors. So it's money well worth spent just getting that permit for the state forest. Now, another question I always constantly get asked is the areas that I go, is it private property? Now, majority of the videos that I do, they are on creeks and rivers. Now, here in New South Wales, over 50% of the area of New South Wales is considered to be Crown land, which is land that is open to the general public. Now, that's over 50%. That's more than half of the total area of New South Wales is Crown land, open to the public. So all creeks and rivers that have a name, like all named waterways, are deemed to be Crown land open to the general public. Now, I can't stress that enough to guys and girls that are out there listening. If it has a name, you are entitled to be there. You are entitled to use that waterway for recreational purposes, such as gold panning, prospecting, sluicing. It's once you get up out of the actual riverbed and you're onto the banks, then you actually are entering into private property.
Unless it's actually federal or state land, correct?
That's right. There are a few exceptions to that rule. And I say one of the best exceptions is you can have military training grounds that you have rivers and creeks that actually run through that training area. You cannot enter that area for obvious reasons. You don't want to get shot
Right.
doing military training. We've got quite a few different military training grounds here in New South Wales. We've got bombing ranges, we've got firing ranges, we've got all sorts of different types of government training grounds. So they are a no-go zone for everybody bar military personnel.
Right. Well, out here, it's majority private land. Good 80-90% of it, I would say. Um, at least on this side of the Mississippi, on the east side of the Mississippi. And if it's a navigable riverway or waterway that's recognized as navigable, you have, as long as you have permission for access and egress, uh, you can be on it to the ordinary high water line. And then there's a 10-foot buffer, and anything beyond that buffer is private land. Now, like in Washington and like Baker's Snoqualmie National Forest, if you're in those boundaries, everything's public land. And like if on my claims, we had claims up there, we couldn't stop anyone from traveling through it, camping on it, fishing on it, any other recreation besides panning. Once they put a pan to it or a shovel without permission, they're committing a Class A felony. Um,
Yep.
and but most time, if people would just say, "Hey, can I do a little panning on your claim?" or sluicing or whatever, I'd say, sure, just let me know what you find and where you found it. Because I plotted off on a diagram of the waterway and the claim. I would plot it off and record it. So that'd be greatly appreciated. But other than that, have a great time, you know. Fill me in. uh, so it sounds a lot of the same ball game in a way, you
I
know.
think very, very similar. Like as far as the flood boundaries go, it's pretty much the same. You know, quite often where you are, there are no fences, there are no boundary markers. You've just got to know what those distances are, and so long as you're reasonable and you're not, you know, going way up the bank and going, oh no, I thought I was within the normal boundary. Most people are quite obliging to the fact that you're only there having a hand for the day. Of course, you do get the occasional irate farmer that seems to think that he owns everything, including water. So I've had quite a few run-ins with a few of them. It only ever happens once. If I return there and I run into them again, they're normally a lot more happy to see me. But yeah, their whole understanding of what is actually legal and what is illegal, what is possible and what is not possible, that once you find that playing field, that level playing field, everything's pretty good.
Yeah, now, are there places out on Crown Land where you could pick up a claim or a lease?
Funny story that, Ed. I won't talk too much about it while we're here going live, but I am actually in the process of trying to get a claim to do an open cut mine. So,
Cool. Well,
yes,
that
prairie.
answers my question. So there is land, Crown Land, where you could go out and stake a claim and be uh, 20 acres or 80 acres or so on.
Correct.
Okay.
There are quite a few private claims along the Turon River, and have been for quite a few years. So I'm currently in the process of trying to get a claim. I'm not going to reveal the area for obvious reasons. Well, okay, I'll just give you a quick idea of why I'm not going to reveal the area. I walked onto it with a metal detector. I've done a lot of research to actually find this area. Within 5 minutes of being there, I never actually picked up a digging tool. I just scratched with my foot where the detector gave me a signal, and I picked up a nugget.
Oh, wow. I wouldn't want to tell no one either. It's on No Tell'em Creek over
Yep.
yonder. Yeah, definitely a good reason to keep that location disclosed. I can fully understand. And you don't just do this for like hobby or just an outdoor activity. You also work in the mining industry.
I've actually probably more so the maintenance side of mining. We've got quite a few large commercial sized mines here in New South Wales. So we've got the likes of Cadia, which is owned by Newcrest Mining, North Parks, we've got Lake Cow. So we've got quite a few. Trenton, I'm just running through some of the mines that I've been to over the years. So what I do is I'm actually a maintenance fitter. I go to these mines and I work on their machinery. So they'll have a shutdown. So they've got their machinery and they'll run it for so many weeks or months before they actually deem that it's ready to actually be maintained. So rather than have their machinery break down through wear and tear, they shut the plant down. We go in for a couple of weeks. We fix everything and we replace everything that needs replacing that's been worn out, and then they start the plant up. Right. So I've been a number of years And I say the main mine that I would actually go and work. You're right there, Ed? Yeah, so the main mine I'd work at would be... So over the years, I've done work there underground on shuts, and I was working there on and off on shift for quite a few years, but the shift work had a bit of an adverse effect on me, so I end up not doing the shift work longer and just doing the shutdowns.
Well, that's cool. Do you have any other, since you were shutdowns, are you a carpenter or maintenance at some other place during the sides when you're not working at the mine on shutdowns?
So when I'm not working at the mines, I actually work for an engineering firm here in Biffle Engineering. So I handle most of the machining aspects of things, so I do all the machining side of it. I do occasionally, but don't tell anyone, I do occasionally weld. Definitely don't tell my boss that I weld. You're supposed to be laughing, guys. That was a joke.
Now, are all those bigger mines you work at, are they different minerals like copper, or are they all just gold mines?
They've all got different minerals. They all actually extract the different minerals, but they are mainly gold mines.
Okay.
Now, in your part in New South Wales is, oh, geez, I'm trying to look at Australia in my head, and my geography ain't the greatest for that part of the world. But now, if I remember right, New South Wales is like northeastern Australia, right?
Yeah.
Now you're making him think about it.
The
Okay.
top half, yeah, the northern border of New South Wales would be sitting roughly in the centre of Australia, like centre line, east-west. So New South Wales sits south of that centre line of Australia.
Okay. Okay. Um, I'm just trying to figure out places like Sydney and Bells Beach and stuff because when I think of Australia, I go back to my surfer roots, and everything everything's on the coast and stuff. So now, is there anything other like gyms and stuff like the Opal Fields in Australia, or is that in a whole different province?
No, we've got actually some of the best opal in the world here in New South Wales. So, anybody's actually sitting in front of a computer or got access to a computer, if you go onto Google Maps, it will actually show you a pretty good outlay of New South Wales and Australia. So if you were looking on Google Maps and you found Bathurst, which is directly west from Sydney, just slightly north up from Sydney, if you go straight up north and to the west a little bit, you'll come to an area called Lightning Ridge. Lightning Ridge is a big opal area in New South Wales.
Oh, okay.
Now, Lightning Ridge, we've got White Cliffs, which is also good for opal. And then right in the very corner of New South Wales, we've got an area called Tibooburra. Now, Tibooburra is a very popular area for guys to go prospecting during winter here in New South Wales. Summertime, you want to probably avoid it. It'd be like trying to prospect inside an oven. Like you're talking like 46, 47, 48 degrees in summer and extremely hot and dry.
Okay, now where's that conversion table again, Dano? Doggone it. For all us Yankees,
That's like 90 some degrees, I think, from what he was talking earlier. For us.
30 degrees is 35 is 95.
Yeah, so 35 degrees is 95 Fahrenheit.
Okay.
So when you're in the up over the 100.
Man, fry an egg on the pavement.
And that's probably early morning, not midday. I'd say about 2 o'clock. If you're out wandering around at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you've obviously got rocks in your head because it's way too hot to be out doing anything.
I'll bet so. Where you hope you had a mine dug into the side of a hill and you could retreat down into it.
Right.
Well,
now,
we're talking what? Most people that actually live there live underground.
You about have to.
Yeah, well, that's, you know, your temperature does too much and it gets you out of the blistering heat. So
Right.
they don't,
makes sense.
they don't live underground at Lightning Ridge because there's too much moisture in the ground and it's actually not good for your health to live in moist conditions.
Oh.
Whereas White Cliffs is a lot drier climate and there's not that much moisture in the ground, so it's fine. There's actually a complete motel that's underground there.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool. You know. Okay, bucket list. Go to the motel down underground and go to the ice hotel in Alaska.
Someday, buddy, someday.
Yeah, in my wildest dreams. I'd love to go to Australia, New Zealand. I hear Papua New Guinea has some pretty good gold, but I'd hate to get my head shrunk or anything. I still hear Papua New Guinea can be kind of a man-eating area.
I won't say no. It's, you know, very much exaggerated. I was offered a job there many years ago, and it was strictly fly in, fly out. And one of the guys that was working there said, "Don't walk near the perimeter fence." And I said, "Why is that?" And he said, "Because you'll end up with a spear through you." I went, "Oh, I don't think I'll worry about taking a job there. I'm not that."
I can understand that. Not that keen on getting pierced by a spring.
No
spear.
Yeah.
What got you into YouTube?
Right. Well, coming back to what I was saying about what I believe with kids and technology, because I've been doing this for, I say, ever since I was a kid. I was actually carted up and down creeks in backpacks when I was a baby. I say I've been doing it for that long that I really do take for granted just how easily I can walk onto a spot and find gold. So people that knew me said, "Oh yeah, we know that you do that for a bit of fun, but how do you do it? Like, we've gone out and we've tried, we've never done it." And it's like, well, okay, what I'll do, because I used to work shift work, and when people would have time off, I'd be at work, and when they were at work, I'd have time off. I thought, well, the easiest way to do it is if I just make a video, put the video up, then they can watch it at their leisure and watch it as many times as they want, and they can actually learn what I've been teaching. That's how it originally started with YouTube. I started just doing videos to show them, one, the area I was at, because I'm quite liberal. I don't mind saying to people, go to this creek, go to this location, and if you dig here, you will find gold. I'm of the belief that I don't own any of the gold that's in the ground. That belongs to whoever's got the get up and go to get out there and go and get it. So it's very rarely that I won't share a location, other than when I actually pick up nuggets off the top of the ground you're not digging for. I want people to actually go out and find gold. I want them to experience that enjoyment of finding their very own gold. So it just progressed over the years. The more videos I was doing, the more I actually found that I was enjoying doing the videos. and I was getting more and more people that was actually following me on YouTube and saying, thanks very much for helping me. I've been trying to do this for years and I've been unsuccessful. I've watched a couple of your videos, taken on board some of the information you've been giving, and I'm starting to find gold. So that just encouraged me even more. I thought, well, okay, if I can do that for a few people, surely I can do that for a few more. So I started getting a little more professional. I started buying external mics and looking at different types of cameras and actually getting a mindset about, right, well, if I've never done this before, what information do I want if I want to go out and have a go at it? So I started thinking from the perspective of somebody that's never done it and thought, right, I'll give them as much information as I can. 1, location. 2, the equipment you need. 3, how to do it. I thought, well, that's good. And from there, the channel grew very quickly and I got a lot of subscribers. The best part, I don't know whether it applies to you, Ed, the best part is reading the comments. I don't know whether that applies to you guys. Like, you guys get a kick out of reading some of the comments that you guys get?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got a comment right now from Ron Adams in the chat here. Said he's wondering what type of matting you prefer, what type of machine do you run. Said he hasn't been on, he just got on here late, and he wanted to ask you a couple questions.
Right. Ron, we can no longer run high bankers here in New South Wales. It was a grey area as far as legal-wise for quite a few years, but it has now been deemed that any mechanical process of retrieving gold is deemed to be illegal. So any type of pump, be it petrol, electric, hydro, wind powered, any mechanical means of gold retrieval here in New South Wales is now deemed to be illegal. But in saying that, I still use river sluices. Those that watch my videos know that I've got a little easy sluice, which was actually manufactured in California. I'm sure you guys know the brand I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Seen it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's got just the little sections of minor moss that sit beneath the drop riffles.
Right. Right.
Little ABS plastic with a little aluminum V on it, and it's a nice little sluice from what I've seen.
Yep, that's the one. You've got him in one. I just use that one. One, because it's easy. I can put that in my backpack. It's nice and light. Because I always process the material before I run it through it, I'm not feeding huge quantities through it. I'm not shoveling gravel directly into it and then sticking rocks in.
Right.
And it works quite well. Now, no two sluices are the same. I know that. You guys know that. But that one in particular, if you can get the flow just right, you can actually watch the gold in those very small V riffles at the start. You can watch the gold drop straight into it and push sideways. With the water pressure pushing down onto those V's at the start, you can physically see the gold travelling sideways in the sluice, so 90 degrees to the water flow. And that's where 90% of the gold sits. It never travels any further down.
Okay. Now the name of your channel, did you call it that because you have taken people out with you on gold adventures, or you just decided to share your adventures in gold prospecting, and that's how you got your name?
Good question, Ed. I can't actually remember how I came up with the name for my channel. Talk to my wife, because I'm always out adventuring. I think she looks at me and goes, "Who the hell are you and what are you doing in my house?" Adventure gold, like, yeah. I say, when I first started the YouTube channel, I did sort of ponder what I was going to call it. And I don't know, I think one of my usual sleepless nights, I mean, I don't sleep well. any longer. I don't sleep well at the best of times. If I get 4 to 5 hours sleep a night, that's probably a good night's sleep for me. I think it was just one of those sleepless nights. I just went, Adventure Gold, and I jumped onto the net and actually had a look around. There is a gold mining company called Adventure Gold. They haven't contacted me and said I'm a bad person for stealing their name yet. Yeah, I think it was just one of those names. I just thought it up one night and went, no, I'll run with that. And
Sounds good.
Yeah. I love this guy's videos. Thanks.
Yeah, that's Don. He's from Washington State, Southwest Washington State. So,
G'day.
thanks for joining us, Don. Yeah.
But that flag looks pretty familiar. It's a good background. You should stick with that, Ed.
I thought you'd like that.
Right. Oh, hang on. I hate you.
Well, who is this? Let's just kick her out of here, huh? Till it's Saturday night.
We must be doing something right. We got haters here. Thank you. Jesus loves you.
And you're out of here.
Yeah, you know what? You live with it. Like, it doesn't matter what you do in life. You're always going to get people that don't like what you do.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. They're probably a tree hugger or something who thinks we rape the world and we're evil capitalists. I don't know.
A lot of these people on like where we're doing right now, these people are just out looking to try to start trouble. They don't care what you're talking about. They just got nothing better to do than sit at home and start commenting on you.
Keyboard tough guys, you know, or gals.
I just get rid of them directly and I'm done with it. Because the ones that come in that say hello and are nice, you know they're ready to stay for a while. We just had a guy earlier do that. What was his name? Swerby MC. He come in and he said, "You're stupid." And then he said, "Are you listening to me?" I banned him too.
I say, Danny, I think a lot of the hate that you get is because they're misinformed or they're uneducated as to what we do.
Yes, I agree with that.
Very true statement there. Don has a question. Andrew, do you camp in the woods there in Australia?
I'm sure I do, Don. Really don't have that much to worry about. The occasional bunyip or yowie, but they're pretty placid.
I was about to ask you if you ever had any run-ins in the night out there, any scary stories you could tell.
Oh, scary stories. Oh, actually, I've got a beauty. Story.
Go ahead.
Because majority of the time I go out prospecting, I do it by myself, and that's simply because I don't always fit in with other people's plans. Like when I've got time to go, I go. No, I don't wait for somebody else to actually have that opportunity. So I do it by myself. So many years ago, I went out to the Turon River and spent, I think it was 2 nights out on the Turon. And the area I was at was worked very heavily by the Chinese, and the remnants of their gold digging is still there. You can find it today. So I was sitting there by the fire, early in the evening, and I was just watching the sparks slowly rise up into the starry sky, and I just happened to think, I wonder if I just say, if there's any old prospectors out there, make your presence known, if I'm going to get a response. So I did. I said it out loud. If there's any old timers out there that are actually here with me tonight, give me a sign. A log dropped in the fire and a few sparks went up, and I went, yeah. So I didn't really take that much notice of it. The way I was set up to camp, I actually had a swag, which is like bedding. It's just a roll-up bedding that rolled out in the back of a vehicle I had. And I tarped the vehicle off. It was like a ute. So I tarped it off. So I had a gap between the tarp and the actual tub of the ute that I could climb in and out through, and the rest of it was completely tarped off. So I climbed into the swag, and I was slowly going off to sleep. And I remember waking up with my legs going out over the side of the tub between the tarp and the tub of the vehicle, and they were pointing up at roughly a 45-degree angle, and I was out of the vehicle up to my waist. I tried to yell, nothing came out of me. I was terrified. And I thought, right, when I finally got out and I got onto my feet, I thought, right, I got some of my mates that have come out here and they're bloody having a practical joke with me.
Right.
And I went searching around, and I could not find the presence of anybody else there. Like the campfire had died right down. There was just a few red embers there. Couldn't see any other footprints. I couldn't see any squash grass. And I'm thinking, well, that's really strange, because I was being pulled feet first out of the vehicle.
Wow.
So, hey, sorry we're all late. Hope all things doing well. Yep. So, yeah, I was a bit freaked out, but I didn't let it deter me. I climbed back into the vehicle, and I laid facing out towards the opening. And as true as I sit here today, as I was looking out through the opening, the back of the vehicle was completely tarped off. Nobody could get into it at all. I got tapped on the shoulder 3 times very firmly. And at that point I said, okay, you've made your presence known. Thank you. And I was right for the rest of the night and the following night.
Man.
Yeah,
That'd be kind of spooky.
Yeah, hell
Really?
yeah, it was.
Just go, holy cow.
No kidding. And there wasn't even a Sasquatch involved in that.
No, yeah.
Now, okay, there was a kind of a spooky thing. Now, what was the most dangerous thing you ever get into or happen?
Upset my wife.
Oh, well, there you go. That's true.
Well, just a danger that we all live with. Every prospector does it. But no, in all seriousness, you're dealing with animals here in Australia that can kill you within a minute.
Yeah, you have some very bad vipers there. Like, what, isn't the black mamba from Australia? Shoot, I would worry about some of the snakes more than like the dingoes or something.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to say right, we don't have the black mamba. What you guys are seeing and probably mistaking as a black mamba is what they call a red-bellied black snake. While he is a venomous snake, he's very, very placid and will do everything possible to get out of your way. You step on him, he's more worried about getting out from under your foot than he is from actually trying to bite you. We also, I got chills from that story. Yeah, it brings back chills when I actually talk about it, because I say it was just one of those holy cow moments. But we've got what we call eastern brown and tiger snakes. Now, an eastern brown will pretty much kill you within minutes if you do not know the right thing to do. So if you panic and start moving really quickly and getting your heart rate up, it will pump the venom through your body really quick, and your body will start to go into shutdown, because what the venom does is it shuts down your nervous system. So your kidneys stop working, your lungs stop working. Eventually, when it makes it to your heart will stop working. That is how the neurotoxin works with snakes. So tiger snakes are the 2 bad ones. So you always got to be mindful of where you are. Are you prepared to be in that area? And how to deal with snake encounters. The best way to deal with it, don't upset the snake and just be calm.
Yeah, BMXer Don says, you got Bigfoots in Australia?
Once again, I'm not going to deny it, but I can't say that I've ever actually come across it. The story of Bigfoot's been in the areas where I prospect, but I've never actually found anything that would indicate that they're there, but I'm not going to deny that they could be there.
I always told people I ain't never seen one, but I sure did hear something one night that I didn't quite understand.
Are wild dogs like coyotes? No, they're not. They're different.
We were all at a place in Southern Ohio here prospecting. I got up one night and they were making a sound. I told them guys the next day about it, the next night, another guy heard what I heard. He said, I heard what you heard.
He was reading a question from Ronald, Dano.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Ronald asked, are wild dingoes like coyotes? I believe you were, at least.
Yeah, no, coyotes and dingoes are two different breeds. Although they're from the canine family, well, I believe the coyotes are from canine family, they are two completely different types. No, not Bigfoot giant kangaroos. Yes, we certainly do have giant kangaroos.
Now, I've heard that the kangaroos there are quite a problem now. They're like overpopulated and everything. Were they protected for a while, or still are?
They are protected, but you are correct in saying that they are overpopulated, and that is because of farming activities. And I say there's a lot of misinformation out there. People believe that kangaroos are going to become extinct. Well, no more than what rabbits would be. I mean, they've tried to get rid of rabbits, they've failed miserably, and I say it's going to be the same with kangaroos. When you have an environment that's balanced, like before Europeans come to Australia, which is only 200 years, we've got a fairly short history here, Europeans in Australia. When it's balanced, things stay at a certain level, so you don't get overpopulations of one animal over another. But what happens is we come in, like Europeans or people come into an area and they start farming activities. And when they start doing that, they grow crops, which is food sources for animals like kangaroos. They open up irrigation channels and start building dams, which is water supply for these animals. So as soon as they've got an abundance of food and water, they start to breed. So my understanding, we've probably got about 7 times, I think, last time I looked, 7 times the number of kangaroos here in Australia now than when we first arrived here on the first fleet.
No, wow. So they breed like giant rats, huh? Like like rabbits, pretty much.
Yep. They can be, for lack of better knowledge, they can be pregnant with one, have another one in the pouch, and have another one still reliant on the mother kangaroo. So they can have 3 going at a time.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Them are some big critters.
Now, have you ever traveled abroad? Like, well, not even really abroad. Let's say close by, like Tasmania or New Zealand, and do any prospecting?
But out of the country once, and that was to go to New Zealand. If there's any guys from New Zealand watching, I'm definitely going back there, guys. I'm going back there to do some prospecting and once again just visit that fantastic land of cloud. It is just an amazing place. That South Island is like travelling back in time. Hi, David. Well, actually, talking about David Buckle, if anybody's actually watched any of his videos, this guy is finding some really, really nice gold. Like really nice gold. So it's worth having a look. I'm just going to quickly find his channel name, because for a guy that hasn't been doing it for very long, man, is he finding some good gold.
Oh, wow. And David what?
Buckle.
Buckle?
I'm going to find him here very, very shortly, and yeah, I'll tell you more. Tasmanian Gold, he's called.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm subscribed to him.
Tasmanian Gold.
That area he's working in Tasmania looks really good. Are you all right, Dano?
Yeah, I was burping. Did it sound bad? I should have muted my mic. Sorry, sir. And Patrick's hearing my duck quack on my phone.
Yeah, I heard it a couple of times. I wasn't gonna say nothing.
That's my duck
Yeah,
call.
I'm going to chuck a link up for Tasmanian Gold there in the comments now.
it might not let you
If
do
he,
it,
maybe if I
Andrew.
approve it, or you approve it, it'll let it show.
You can try. I can make you administration so it can. Uh,
Yeah, try stick it up there and see if it goes.
scroll up
So
higher now.
click that through to you later, Ed.
Here, I'll make you a mod, so you should be able to do it now. So you're a moderator, so you should be able to post a link now. There you go.
So that's
Uh,
Tasmanian Gold.
There you
Well
go.
worth a look, not just for the gold, but for the scenery. Like, he's got some fantastic scenery down there in Tasmania.
Now you got a wrench by your name.
Now, I met a girl, knew a girl who lived in the port where the ferry was that went to Taz. Um, actually, me and a buddy of mine took her to Disneyland in Anaheim, California. But uh, I guess that's the only way to get there besides flying is take that ferry from Southern Australia over there. It's like directly north of Tasmania. I forget the name of the town.
Would it be Sandy?
Pardon?
Be called Sandy Port?
Yeah, I believe that was it.
Yeah, that's probably the closest port to Tasmania that I can see.
It was in Australia, the port that the ferry took you to Tasmania.
Yep. Yeah. No, so I've got ambitions later on when I'm not so busy with work that I'm actually going to do a fair bit of travelling in Australia and once again do a lot more videos of the areas. Like you were saying, Ed, you were talking about the gun emplacements that I posted some pictures of here yesterday.
Yeah.
Heading towards Sydney from Bathurst, where I live. Now, the area I was at with my wife Beth yesterday was called Lithgow. And I say, we've only been here in Australia for 200 years, but we've got a fair bit of history that people don't realise we have. And until people like myself that go out and actually spend days, going exploring these places and actually taking pictures and videos and putting them up, that people go, oh, wow, I've travelled there all my life and never knew that was there. So that was just one of the things. The gun emplacements there at Lithgow were built there because they had a small arms factory in Lithgow. That small arms factory provided all the small arms for the Australian infantry and army for years and years and years. Hello?
We're still here. I was typing.
We're still here. You were breaking up a little though, Andrew. At least on my end.
Yeah, we're still breaking up again now.
Don was talking about he had a kangaroo knapsack that he keeps his nuggets in. I have one on my shelf too. Some Rusak.
Has anyone got a cane-toed purse? Because they're pretty popular too. They take these giant cane toads and turn them into purses and use the mouth as the opening.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
That would be cool.
Yeah, so they virtually dry these frogs out or these cane toads out and they just turn them into purses. So they're in plague proportions in Queensland. We don't have them here in New South Wales, but
That'd be neat.
No doubt. Mind if I take a real quick break, real quick, Adam, for one of my sponsors, please? And we'll get back, and maybe if you're up to a phone call, open our phone lines. Be interested in that?
Go for it.
All right. We'll be right back, our friends. A message from our friends at Gold Claw. All right, well, we're back with Andrew Smith of Adventure Gold here on YouTube from New South Wales, Australia. I'm going to put the phone number out there if anyone would like to call us and ask our guests any questions. Phone lines are open now. So come on, make it worthwhile paying for that phone line for and give us a call. Yeah, our other partners out eating grub with the family. It wouldn't had been nice to having Jesse. He's really a gifted gabber, and he takes care of a lot of the questions and asking during our shows usually, Andrew, while I'm doing the broadcasting kind of engineering on my end. So I, being partial blonde, uh, I'm trying to keep the bull rolling while I'm trying to keep things all copacetic on my end too.
It's gonna be an uphill battle, Ed, because I'm a blonde too.
At least I don't want to hear no blonde jokes out of none of you out there, especially if you're not blonde, right, Andrew? I have a little book I found. It's uh, it's a glossary of words used in Australia, Aboriginal words used in Australia. And reading some of those, I know your guys' humor's a bit different than ours here in the state. I kind of have a fairly dry sense of humor, so I get I like a lot of British humor or older British humor, but I was checking out some of these words and I'm like, oh, gee whiz, how do you? I should have brought that book in. It's out in my shop. Do the Aboriginals ever bother you while you're out in the outback and out prospecting?
No, no, definitely not. Like, yeah, you'd probably have more issues that way in town than you would ever out in the bush. And I say my dealings with Aboriginals have always been good. Like, I've never ever had bad run-ins with them at all. And I say I've worked with a lot of them, worked side by side with them, and great people, very, very knowledgeable. They can tell you so much stuff about this country that you're just never ever going to learn off anyone else. And it's really amazing stuff too. Ron Adams, how about the weight and story of his biggest nugget? Ron, yeah. I say when I was younger, I used to do a lot of detecting, and I'd sell the gold simply because I wanted money. Story, biggest one. Yeah, Like really, it wasn't so much the enjoyment back then. It was just I need to go out. I need to find some gold so I can get some money. So, I don't know if anyone's asked, but has he dredged in the ocean off the coast? If it is legal, or is there a reef protecting the area? I only know of one area off the coast of New South Wales that actually has gold. Definitely illegal. You can't dredge it. The reefs, generally the reefs off New South Wales are all fairly deep. It's not until you get up into the northern states like Queensland where the reef's shallow. But as far as I know, up there's no gold out in the ocean. My understanding of gold in the ocean is it was generally glacial movements that moved the gold out into the ocean area. So as like up in Alaska and places like that, as the glaciers are slowly moving towards the coast, they're dragging the rock and material and the gold and drags them out into the fan, like the sediment plains in the ocean, and that's where it drops. So can't really give you much more information than that one, Patrick. Sorry.
Now, okay, since Ron was asking about a story about your biggest nugget, how old were you and where were you? Well, not where were you. We'll keep that disclosed. How old? What type of equipment? And how much did the biggest nugget you ever found weigh?
I think we're talking, it was a bit over an ounce, the biggest one, and I could actually tell you the area because it was the common at Hill End where the Holtzman nugget was found.
Oh, and that's the one you showed with us earlier. I could bring up my display there, and you won't be able to see chat, but right there, see that nugget right there? It's about as big as that guy right there. And that's the Welcome Stranger nugget, correct?
Oh, that's nugget. The Welcome Stranger is a different nugget which came from Victoria.
Oh, okay, because it says the world's largest gold nugget, the Welcome Stranger.
Correct, because the whole is technically was not a nugget. It was a gold mass. So it was gold with matrix. So there was quartz and other minerals with it, but it is the largest gold mass.
Okay, and that's the one here in the picture right below. And Victoria had the Welcome Stranger, which is that nugget. Oh, those are other nuggets. Okay, all right. It was just from that webpage you sent me on Messenger earlier from Gold Rush Nuggets on that article about the Holterman nugget. There was a part there where it just said the world's largest gold nugget, the Welcome Stranger. It's a link taking you to another page. Okay. At first I thought maybe it was the same nugget with a couple of different names. But geez, how would you like to find something like that metal detecting, huh?
Oh, yeah. I don't think you'd need a detector to find it. I think you would need a fairly good excavator to pick it up and put it in a vehicle, right?
I wouldn't leave it till I did.
Yeah, now, it's interesting, Ed, about that nugget, the Holtzman nugget, because there's a bit of a story behind that, and I'm not going to go too far into it because I can't verify how accurate the story is. But Mr. Holtzman, at the time of the discovery of that gold nugget, was said to be in a, how do I put this politically correctly? He was in an establishment here in Bathurst where the establishment had a lot of lady folk.
Okay.
You guys are starting to catch on to this?
Yes, yes.
He was anywhere near Hill End at the time of this nugget's discovery. He was actually in the company of some.
He's in a brothel.
Okay,
He,
my wife said
he was a pimp.
Oh, leave it to the wife. He was in a brothel.
He was a pimp.
can't confirm 100% that the accuracy of that story, but that I've actually read and heard quite a few times. And another interesting thing about the location of that Halterman nugget was they said that they'd found larger ones, but they were disheartened with what happened with the Halterman nugget, and they cut them up and broke them down underground before bringing them to the surface. So that wasn't the largest one. They found bigger ones, but they just cut them up underground.
Oh, wow. Crazy.
I'd be happy with a 1 ounce nugget. Don't see that much here in New England. No, I say, well, you know, we've got guys wandering all over this country with detectors, and I mean, every single month that goes by, the detectors are getting better. So their depth is getting better, their discrimination is getting better. So the chances of actually finding that 1 ounce nugget is getting slimmer and slimmer.
Yep. Yep.
Obviously, detectors that actually improve in depth will take, and I say this to a lot of people because they get a little bit disheartened when they buy a detector and say, well, you know what? Old ground is only old ground until you get new technology. Then old ground becomes new ground again because that extra depth puts you into a range that nobody's ever detected before. So you never know. What has been before may actually be reached with newer detectors, and you wouldn't know what's laying there.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're getting past what all the others dug, you know. All the others went 6 inches and you're getting 12 inches. You're beating them all.
Well, it's just like in the mountains and stuff when you have mass wasting and a landslide or something. That just opens up new ground.
Yep.
Opens up new ground on the high bench. It exposes old tertiary streams. And then it puts new ground in. It's alluvial, and then alluvium, and then it becomes alluvial, I believe, or vice versa. But yeah, once it gets to water, you know, then it's in the stream and it's a placer deposit. But let me see, alluvium is before it hits the stream, and then alluvial is when it becomes placer material. Am I correct on that, Andrew?
Because, as I say, the easiest way to remember it is one word starts with E, which is alluvial, and one word starts with A. So E means eventually it'll get to water, and A means it's already made it to water. That's the easiest way to do so. E will eventually get there, A has already made it.
Okay, I was pronouncing it totally wrong in the first place.
It depends on where you are in the world as to how you pronounce it. So what I say, the way we pronounce it is eluvial and alluvial.
Okay. Yeah, usually we don't use that terminology here often. Once it gets to where water displaces it and moves it, it's placer deposit. And then we have the source and alluvial fans, they would call them. But yeah, it's amazing how things change even from like state to state or providence to providence. It's
I get picked on all the time because I use the wrong words because people say, oh, you're not in America, you don't use those words. It's like, well, you know what? Did you know what I mean?
That's right. Sure. Did you get what I was saying?
What I'm saying. So if that's all you got to pick on me about, you know what? Have a great day, and I'm glad I gave you something to talk about.
There you go. How about it?
How do you guys like when you talk panning? Do you talk panning? Do you talk gold dish? Because so this is another subject that I've actually spoken to with another guy in America before, and he said dishing, like panning.
Panning. Panning.
Yeah, guys talk panning.
Yep,
Yep.
panning the gold. Yep, panning the gold down.
Yeah, so we call them gold dishes or gold pans. It just depends on who you talk to and where you are as to who calls it what. But
Right.
much anywhere around the world, everyone's got their own little terminology for different prospecting equipments. But so it pretty much all translates to the same at the end of the day. Like we all know what we're talking about. Bowling for gold. Have you ever heard of that?
Bowling for gold? No.
Bowling term?
No, what's that?
Right. So this was one I found out a couple of years ago. Like you have bowling alleys when you go 10-pin bowling. When you got a heap of guys that are actually panning side by side, shoulder to shoulder on a creek, that's called a bowling line, where they're all got bowls in a line and they're bowling for gold. So that was a term that I'd never heard of before. And there's actually a couple of areas here in Australia that are called Bowling Creek, where we got the name because it was just a line of people on both banks panning for gold.
Huh.
It sounds like the walleye fishermen's on the Wami River. They're balling for fish, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. Shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, that's cool. This is one thing I like about, and one reason why I wanted to do like these across the pond specials, because we're all talking about one thing, gold and our passion and our love for the lifestyle of prospecting. But it's like with guys in carpentry on the West Coast. On that school of carpentry, we use different terms and different slangs, keen studs and trimmers and cripples, where
Right.
guys I work with, they'd call a trimmer a cripple, and they wouldn't even use the term keen stud. And, at first you're kind of, what? Okay. Until you learn they went to a different school, I went to a different school.
But it all means the same thing.
Right. Worst thing they give me a hard time about is staying on my worm drive saw. It's like, what's that thing? Ain't that heavy? I'm like, no. If you learn how to use it right, it's a lot easier than that sidewinder you got. But
Yeah, they cut better.
oh yeah, if you know how to use them. And there you go back to anything, either machinery or prospecting or carpentry. You gotta learn your tools, which
Yep.
our buddy Jesse would say.
Well, like me, I've got a totally different machine. A lot of people, I got that Han Coop, and it's different than, for say, what you run or Patrick runs. It cleans out different. It runs different as far as water pressure. Everything's different.
Yeah, that's quite the kind of contraption, your Hound Coop. It's a regular wash plant, Andrew. It has several different classifications, like 3 different sluice boxes in it. One's a nugget trap sluice, and then you have your fine gold and your finer gold. And it's a mean machine. I'm just glad I'm not you carrying it.
That's the only bad part about it, is packing it out to the creek.
So how go, Daniel? Is that like an easy thing to set up? Like I imagine if you've got different sluices that are catching different size material, like I'd take it as have a little bit of setup time.
It's not too bad. I think, what would you say, maybe 10, 15 minutes set up and running if you're wanting to get in the creek.
Yeah,
That's not bad.
It's just the
That's
actual
about-
packing of it, Andrew's what it is. It's a big machine. It's cumbersome. My YouTube channel, you go to my Regnad Man channel, and it's on there. You can watch a video of it and see what it is. I've kind of taken some videos down because of some political problems we're having, but besides that, there's still videos on there of me running it.
Yep, I'll have a look.
And it's called a Han Coop, and a guy up in Michigan builds them. Don Han Coop's actually his name. And I looked and looked and looked and looked and looked for a long time, researched what I wanted, and finally I went up and I actually met him and bought it from him right there where he lives.
Yep. Yeah, it's funny. Like you're in prospecting game, and it never ever changes over the years. It's people always trying to find ways of processing material with the least amount of effort. And even today, you still get people going, "What's the best equipment to process material where I don't have to spend a lot of time doing it?" Now, if you're one of these magical people that can just pluck ideas out of your head and you can come up with a system that where you could just feed raw material in one end and gold come out the other without having to do the cleanups of the concentrates and that, you would become an overnight billionaire. You would be that loved because everybody wants to know, how do you do it with the least amount of effort?
Oh, yeah.
But you know what? As far as prospecting goes, I don't think there really is a dead set easy way unless you're willing to spend big dollars.
All right, guys. I think I got a technical issue.
Uh-oh, did we lose people?
I went to say something and it said I had to sign into chat, and I don't know what's going on.
I've still stand.
Well, it seems like they're still hearing us. They're going on in the chat room talking.
Okay. Well, that's
Aren't
good.
you? Somebody
That's
say something. You hear us all talking?
good.
Speak up.
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm not seeing anybody come up in the chat though.
Yeah, it's on YouTube side.
Okay.
He says yes. Jaron says yes so far. So.
Oh, okay. Well, good.
John
good.
Wolf says I hear you. There's John. Hi, John.
Okay.
Patrick
Excellent,
says all good here. Ron says hear you fine.
Excellent.
I think we're good.
Cowabunga. You know how it is with Murphy here. He
I
likes
do.
showing his head.
Murphy will kick you in the nuggets every time.
Oh yeah.
So, Danny-O.
Yes, sir.
Here, I got a phone call.
Oh, we got a caller.
Oh?
Go ahead, Andrew. What were you going to say?
Do you get into pro?
Yes, sir.
Hey, how you doing, Ed?
Doing really
There
good,
he is.
Mr. Shaw. How are you?
Hey,
Evening, John.
doing good. I just wanted to let you guys know the big old howdy from Texas.
Excellent.
Not quite as big as Australia, but we're trying.
Excellent.
Hey, it's not the size that counts.
Yeah. Now I just wanted to say hello, and you're talking about different kinds of equipment, like what I end up using here in Texas. You know, I get my dirt sent in to me most of the time, and I use a recirculating system, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is kind of called a Gabby pump down there.
Yep, the Gabby pump. Just pump.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the hand dredge. Yeah. Okay.
And I just wanted to say hello and give you a big shout out and say howdy from Texas.
Thank you very much, John. Thank you.
And this way we know the phone lines are still working.
That's right. That's right.
Phone lines are working,
and maybe
OBS
some more folks
is
call
working.
in now. All right, y'all have a great one now.
As long as you all can still see me on YouTube, that's what matters the most, right there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't get the notification, but I knew he'd be on, so I just clicked on over and got on here with y'all.
It's always great to hear from you guys. Always great.
Thank you very much,
well,
John.
Y'all have a great evening now.
Thank you,
John.
John Shaw is a really good gentleman from Texas, Andrew. He does gold painting demonstrations with disabled veterans and people in convalescent homes. Um, and he's a real good gentleman.
Verizon Wireless.
So, thank you for calling, John. I appreciate it.
Yep, absolutely. I got a feeling I may actually seen some of his stuff somewhere where he's working with veterans.
Yeah, and then the old folks' homes is what he works with a lot.
Yeah, John. He also has done stuff like with Dream Mat and Gold Hog.
Yep.
And running pay dirt, doing pay dirt reviews and stuff.
Yep.
So,
thank you for all your amazing videos, Andrew. Australians always seem been a dream destination. The house, yeah. Yeah, it's funny. We take it for granted. We live in a country, and you take it for granted for what's there. Because I'm the same. I want to go and travel the world, but look, it's my pleasure to do the videos, and I say I love doing them for you guys, and I love hearing from you guys because that's what it's really all about for me. If I didn't do the videos, I'd still be out doing what I do love doing. So the videos are just a bonus. It's great hearing from people that enjoy them. It's great people that actually do the same thing. So I'm going to keep on doing them for as long as I can, and showing you guys what I get up to here in Australia and some of the things that you can see here. So thanks for the comments. Like I say, I love them. I love hearing all the different people from all around the world. I've got guys in the Caribbean, guys in South America, Africa. I got a fairly good following from anywhere in the world. Russia, I've got some guys in Russia, and it's always interesting doing the Russian ones because I've got to translate their messages back to English. Then I do a reply in English and translate it back to Russian. I do my best to reply to all of my viewers, but sometimes it's just not physically possible with the hours that I work.
Oh, that's understandable.
Yeah, that's understandable. And plus, they got to remember when you're out there making videos of what you're doing, you're actually cutting into some of your prospecting time because it takes a little bit to get set up and get it going. And I know when me and Ed are out, you spend a lot of time with your camera.
Yep. And I say, it's something that I would encourage anybody that would like to do it. Don't be frightened to have a go because we all got to start somewhere. It's just like prospecting. The only way to actually learn and get good at it is start. Once you start, all just fall into place eventually.
Yeah, true. I really appreciate your videos, that's for sure. You know, I get to see a country I always wanted to go to. And then Tasmania Gold, he shows me Taz. Then I watch some people from like New Zealand, where like you said, that's like South Island's a magical place. You know, it looks really alpine-y and reminds me a lot of Washington State.
Yeah, there's just so many places in the world where you can go prospecting. And I say, if you're that way inclined, you could holiday in a different country for the rest of your life every time and do a bit of prospecting all around the world.
That would be nice to be able to travel abroad and prospect everywhere. That's a dream.
Yeah.
Sure is. It sure is. Now, I was going to ask, Danio.
Yes, sir.
When did you first get into prospecting?
I've been doing it for about 15 years now.
15 years?
And
how did you...
Well, at first I started off watching all them gold fever shows and stuff on TV. Then here where I live in my little town, they have what's called a town-wide garage sale every year. And someone sold panning kits, and I bought a panning kit. And My prospecting was pretty much self-taught and watching TV when I first started for about the first 5 years till I got affiliated with other people that prospected.
Yep.
And it was paying. It was paying only. And then I finally bought a creek sluice and had a creek sluice. Then I bought my Hahn Coop and had my Hahn Coop, and I've had it ever since. And it's a good machine. It's just I had two buddies that were in it with me, and they're both gone. Now it's just me, so the Hahn Coop's a bit much to lug around some days. If I didn't have friends like Ed, I probably wouldn't pack it out some days.
Yep. Yeah, it's just interesting when you actually talk to fellow prospectors how long they've been doing it and how they originally got into it. And I say it's just like you said, they were selling panning kits.
And I had no clue. I didn't know you had to season your pan. Here I am out panning in creeks. My pan got seasoned from all the dirt I ran through it.
Yep. So I've been out on rivers before, and I've had people come up and say, "Yeah, you're the guy off YouTube." You go, "Yeah." How do you do it? Like all that. And so, well, hey, I'll spend some time with you and I'll do it. And you'll look at their pan, and if it's the plastic one, because when they actually make plastic pans, it's like an injection mold. So the mold itself is steel.
Right, and they have a release agent on it.
Exactly right. And the release agent's waterproof. So what happens is it virtually is like having oil in your pan. It will make your gold float, and it will float your gold out.
Yep.
And the first thing I do is say, right, we need to season your pan. Oh, what's that? And I said, I'll show you. And you'll reach down, you'll pick up a hand of muddy, gravelly, sandy dirt, and you put it in, and you scratch it round and go crazy in there. And it's like, oh, it's getting scratched up. And I said, yep, it is, and that's going to help you catch your gold. Oh,
that's right.
Oh, is it? Yep. And I said, the more scratched up it is. And I said, the other thing is now when I put water in it, can you see that water's no longer beating? And I went, yeah. And I said, that's because all the oils from the moulding have now been taken out.
Yep. Makes a big difference.
Makes a huge difference. And I say, how did they used to season the metal pans? Do you guys know anything about that one?
No, I don't.
About the what?
How they seasoned the old metal pans.
Oh,
metal.
I know a little. A lot of guys would burn them, throw them in their fire, and cook off the oils.
So they do the same thing when they actually press them. They'd oil the mould, and you'd end up with an oily film on the metal pans. And the easiest way to season a metal pan is to actually have a fire going, not raging fire, but just let it die down to ash. Turn the pan upside down and sit it on the fire for a couple of minutes until you just see it start to get a bit of a heat colouring on the outside of the pan. Flip it off, and that's the oil burnt out of your pan. So that was the best way to actually season a metal pan.
About like seasoning an old cast iron.
Yeah. But don't you always grease the cast iron after you're done?
Yeah, but when you season it, you always put it over or in your oven too. Like he said, and heat it till it's almost black, and at that point there's no oil on it. Then you would pull it out and season the cast iron though at that point.
Oh, okay.
Ronald, just reading a question there from Ronald. Does gold react differently in the southern hemisphere?
It floats, it don't sink.
What was that?
It floats, it don't sink.
Ed Ingham, you guys and your bunyips and yowies. Nah, Ron, it's pretty much the same anywhere in the world. Gold works the same in water anywhere. What do we got there? The water swirls in a different direction there. Yes, it does. Anybody that's watched The Simpsons will know that one. I was there in 81, and the water flowed different direction across the equator. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one either. Does the dream mat still work down there if it swirls the other way? Yep. There's plenty of guys using dream mat here in Australia. So, yes, the water swirling direction has no effect on it. We'll drop it out behind the inside.
So it's gotten pretty popular pretty quick then, Dream that has over there.
Yeah. I'm actually friends with the guy that invented it on Facebook.
Oh, yeah, David Peterson, yeah.
Friends with David.
Oh, yeah.
I say when you're dealing with water pressures in creeks and rivers and things like that, being in the southern hemisphere has no effect. It's no different from northern to southern. That's right. Gold is still heavy, so it still reacts the same way in water flows. You still got high and low pressure areas. Just joking. Yeah, I thought as much. Funny answer. Prospecting, no matter where you are in the world, is pretty much identical. Like, you look at what happened in California, and it virtually is identical as to what happened here in Australia. They used cradles, they used California pumps, because a lot of the prospecting that was done here in Australia, they brought from America, because that was where the prospecting really was big. And when the word got out that Australia had fantastic gold, the guys that were doing it hard in America jumped on a ship and went to Australia, hoping to make their riches.
Boy, that's a long trip. Just think of the boat ride. It's 16 hours and longer than that flying, right? Gee whiz.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, there. Terry asks the question: any innovation gear coming out in Australia that looks promising?
Look, pretty much we're all convicts here, so we only steal ideas off other people. No, I don't. Look, I don't know of any innovative gear that's coming out of Australia at the moment. Vogas Prospecting had a hand pump or hand dredge that he actually did a review on here a couple of weeks ago. It looked interesting. The one thing that I picked straight away is it had ribbed hosing. Now, anybody that's ever done dredging knows about pipe friction. And of course, if you've got material running through ribbed hosing, it's going to create a heap of pipe friction, which is going to kill the performance of your equipment really quickly. So pretty much, as far as equipment goes, we rely heavily on other people, like other countries, like you guys in the States. You guys come up with really good stuff, and it gets imported over here. I've actually got some equipment off Gary. I suppose you guys know Gary of Two Toes. He sent me over some crevice, and they are really good. Pretty much most of the gear I use, I either make myself or I just use other tools that will actually work for gold prospecting. So a heap of my tools are just plain out hand tools for gardening. Spades, I suppose you'd call them like an soil aerators. It's just a clawed hand tool.
Right.
Specialised crevicing tools, because I'm in the metal fabrication industry, I just use flat bar and just modify the end of the flat bar and turn into a specialised tool for crevicing.
Yeah, if you can't buy it, make it.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, and I say this is another part of what I do. I spend a great deal of time looking at the history of gold prospecting here in Australia, mainly New South Wales. But you look at what the old timers did, and because they had so little money, they had so little in the way of resources as far as prospecting equipment, they made do with whatever they could get their hands on. Chris did a Vogas Prospecting did a video on making a gold slip out of plastic drinking bottles, water bottles that you buy. You've got ribs in them. And I know from past books that I've read that some of the early prospectors here made very crude sluice boxes out of higher logs. So they would split the log in half and they would line the inside of the hollow log with materials. And 9 times out of 10, the material was something that they had. So they'd be buying foodstuffs like flour or sugar and things like that. And when the bag was empty that they had the food in, they would use that as like a cloth to catch the gold inside this crude sluice box, which was the higher log.
Oh yeah.
As long as it's getting the job done, that's what matters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I say,
I heard you talk to that. You commented on a video, pretty much almost that same thing,
yeah,
because I believe it was Chris's video too. I believe it was. Um,
yeah, that's
yeah, I wouldn't mind having Boss Gold on too. Or Boss. I always pronounce the name of his channel wrong. Boss Gold Prospecting.
bogus.
Bogus. Yeah. Okay. See, I always butcher it.
Uh,
But
got there,
Chris seems
John.
like a really good guy.
Yep, I believe. Met him personally. I've had plenty of talks with Chris over the internet. I believe he is a good guy. Hasn't been into prospecting that long. Once again, a lot of the stuff that he learnt off the net, watching videos of guys in America, and probably not so much here in Australia. We didn't have a great deal of guys doing prospecting videos here in Australia years ago. That has changed. We've got quite a few Australians that are now doing prospecting videos. But so that is one good thing about the internet. It does give those people that are first starting out a really good glimpse and a really good head start into that prospecting game. Good. So sorry, just going back. John Wolfe heard a story once that a gent from California Gold Rush realised the rocks and material were similar to what he had at home, went back to Australia and started the Gold Rush there. That very, very believable, because a lot of the guys that come from America looked at a lot of the ground here in Australia and just instantly looked at it and went, this looks so similar to the gold areas we've got in America, and they were right. The geology was just spot on. They just looked at it and went, yep, there's got to be gold here. And they looked and they found it. So, yep, John, you'd be spot on in saying that. Could just be a legend, but sounded good. No, you're right. It is probably quite a bit of truth to that one, John.
Yeah, I could see that happening. Someone from down under came over here for the California Gold Rush or something and took back what he learned here, there. I've always understand that our history, especially out west, the Wild West history and Gold Rush history, really like with cattle wars and the cattle stuff and open range and fencing and stuff like that. A lot of it does parallel your history. Um, like with the cowboys and mining and stuff. Would you say that's correct on more than just the mining?
Yeah, I'd definitely go with that, because I say, in the big scheme of things, we all live on one tiny little ball. And it's pretty much impossible to say that, okay, the information I've got, I'm going to keep. Because if it's a good idea, it goes worldwide pretty quickly. Because as soon as somebody looks at it, and we're the same. We see something that works really well in prospecting, we duplicate it, or we talk about it, and the word spreads. So pretty much anything that works will go worldwide fairly quickly, especially now that we've got the internet. Because you know how quickly stuff happens. It happens, someone's got a video of it, within minutes, it's around the world. So it just stands to reason that farming practices, work practices like carpentry, Ed, like anything that is new in carpentry, we're all on the same page within a matter of minutes when it actually gets released to the public. I was amazed when they first brought out nail guns, air pressure nail guns that did concrete. Like
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Looked at it and went, wow, like I've always used compressed air in framing nail guns. But when they started shooting timber to concrete I-beams and things like that, I was just like, okay,
right.
So this is the...
Yep. Shoot a piece of wood to I-beam or When we put suspended ceiling up, we had a thing called a track fast that would shoot that L angle to the concrete wall.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, years ago they used to call them explosive power tools here in Australia. You had to be licensed to have it because, as Ed would probably know, you, Danny, you've got two different types. You've got indirect and direct action. Direct action was a firearm. You put a charge in, projectile in it, and it worked directly. Indirect ones, the charge works on a piston which strikes the nail. So when they went to all you guys need to be licensed because basically you're walking around with a firearm.
Pretty much. Well, they make us get certified for for safety reasons to operate a ram set. Yeah, so it's sure beats drilling holes and using Tapcons, that's for sure.
Ain't no kidding. Usually they hold pretty good too. Once you shoot them, man, they're in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you pull one out with a claw hammer, you don't do it. It just doesn't happen. You end up snapping the handle off the claw hammer.
Yep.
Right. Let me see. It's fairly. We've been going on 2 hours. It's probably about what, almost 2 there now.
Yep, 1:54 p.m.
Times they get dark right now there.
Probably won't get dark here until about 7:30, but there are some fairly big black heavy clouds starting to roll in, and it's getting very here. So I'd say we're in for a storm this afternoon.
I see it's getting dark for us around here about 5:30-ish, starting to get to where the sun's down over the edge.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, Northern Hemisphere, you guys will be getting a lot less daylight.
Right.
So,
now, during the middle of summer for you, how long's your days and like when's sunset?
All right, so your sun will come up a bit before 6 a.m. in the morning, and it'll set over the horizon, probably about a bit after 6, so you get a full 12 hours of sunlight. But it stays light for a long time after the sun's gone over the horizon, so you probably get another 3/4 of an hour before it starts to actually get to the point where it's getting dark.
Okay.
It's not unusual 8 o'clock at night to still have a fair bit of light around.
Yeah, well, during our summer, it gets dark here around 10 p.m. So 9:30-ish.
Yeah, 9:30-ish, 10, somewhere in there, depending on the clouds and stuff.
Right. I even in South America, I've been quite a ways down into Mexico, but never on that side of the equator. So, I'm reading a little stuff from T-Name. He's out of Canada. Are you still planning on trying to get out and do a little prospecting before the storms come in, Andrew?
Yeah. I have to wait and see. I say it's getting very, very muggy, and I say there's some very black clouds just looking out the window now. One thing I don't do, because I do a lot of prospecting by myself, is I don't put myself into a situation where I'm going to get into trouble. And
yes, I don't blame you there.
A lot of places I go to, you've got to do a fair few creek crossings. And because it's very steep, mountainous country, you get one good storm, a creek that's got a couple of inches of water in it, half an hour later, feet of water through it, and it's running really fast. So if I've got any sort of inkling that I'm going to get a flash flood, I won't go there.
No, that's definitely understand. And since you're out in the bush a lot by yourself, I take it you always let your wife or someone know exactly where you'll be and a time to expect you home.
My wife's standing there with a very unusual look on her face with her hands on her hip, so I'm not going to say always. But generally, I let my wife know where I'm going to be, and I'm in trouble. It's the prospector's life, isn't it? But yeah, always let somebody know where you are going to be, because I say if something should. She's killing herself laughing. She's almost rolling on the floor now. Yeah, good practice. I carry what they call a PLB, which is a personal locator beacon, just in case of an emergency. And when I say emergency, I mean life-threatening emergency. So you flick the aerial up on it. Within 1 minute of flicking the aerial up, it sends a signal to the satellite, back to emergency services. They know exactly your location within half a metre. So they will contact the response group, and they'll be able to get help to you straight away.
Yeah, I've seen some stuff like that too, and reminds me a lot of like an avalanche beacon. You know, as soon as you set it, and if you get trapped in an avalanche, it's automatically starts putting out a signal, so your friends with you, they can track you down. That's probably be a really good thing to have out there. I used to go out a lot by myself back home in Washington. I didn't have a beacon, but I would let someone close to me know what township and range I would be in, and
Yeah.
a real close area to the approximate coordinates I would be at or my vehicle would be at, and a time that I would be expected to come home. And I'd be like, if I'm late by an hour, you might want to think about calling someone. If you haven't heard from me, definitely. But luckily, no, nothing ever happened. Never got attacked by any cougars. Like Don was saying, back home, I didn't worry too much about bears. My concerns were mountain lions, because you won't see them coming. They'd be on your back and biting your neck before you knew what hit you. Um, but
Yep.
that's why I told him out in the bush back home, I'd make a lot of noise to begin with anyway, because of bears and mountain lions. I'd carry my walking stick, I hit the brush, I'd be like, yo bear, scat cat, and letting them know I'm coming. I don't
We
know if you would have that kind of problem with those type of predators where you live.
Well, in India, them people, they learned if they put a Halloween mask on the back of their head, they don't get attacked by tigers because they always got a face looking behind them.
Yeah, you were telling me about that before.
That's interesting.
Am I saying right that mountain lions make a squeaking noise?
Luckily, I've never had the opportunity to find out.
I've seen a video, and they said if you ever hear this noise, you know that there's a mountain lion about, and this thing was making a squeaking noise. Now, I don't know whether anyone that's watching this can confirm that, but yeah, I was amazed when I heard the noise, and I thought, really, that's coming from a mountain lion.
Huh. That would be interesting. I've never heard that before. Of course, I've never heard a mountain lion. I've heard a bobcat go off, and they kind of sound pretty eerie, but I've never heard a mountain lion.
Yeah. We don't, like here in Australia, we really don't have any predators like that. We only have venomous reptiles, such as snakes, and venomous spiders.
Uh-huh.
I have a links video up on channel. So we don't have any large predators as such. There are people that will die from kangaroo attacks here in Australia. Wild pigs will also
Oh yeah.
a bit of damage. But probably lesser known is the cassowary. Cassowary is a large flightless bird that lives in the northern half of
Yes, like
Australia.
an emu or something.
Like an emu, it actually lives in tropical rainforest. It causes more deaths than probably anything else. Not over snakes, but more unexpected deaths. Like you look at a large flightless bird and go, oh, yeah, it's just that. When they attack you, they're quite aggressive and they've got quite large claws and they can do extreme amounts of damage to you very quickly. Oh, and they've got a really hard lump on top of their head. Like a
Now
bony.
that's the big bird that's on your currency, I take it.
No, that's the emu.
Oh,
Cassowary would be like a smaller version of an emu. A cassowary, I'm not sure of the actual height, but a smaller version of an emu.
Yes.
I'd say emus pretty common. Even out Sunny Corner, there's emus out there. Emus are more of a desert or semi-arid area. Like the further you go out west into the flat areas, where I live is fairly mountainous. Like we get snow during winter. It won't lay on the ground like you might get it lay for 2 days tops. But once you go further out west into New South Wales and then once again further west into the centre of Australia, it's mainly very semi-arid or almost desert, so rock and sand. That's where emus and your dingoes, we do get dingoes here, but not in great numbers. But cassowaries, they're quite a dangerous animal. But yeah, snakes, that's my biggest worry with what I do.
so you wear snake boots when you're out and about, or snake gaiters?
I don't. I just generally have jeans on, and mainly the jeans are more protection from the sharp plants because the snakes I've dealt with snakes all my life. I grew up on farm, so if you've got a healthy respect for snakes, you're pretty much going to be okay. You've just got to have that knowledge that if you move quickly, then the snake will react quickly. So if you happen to walk onto a snake and you start jumping around panicking, the snake's going to think, "Cow, what are you doing? You look like you're threatening me. I'm going to have a go at you." If you're nice, cool and relaxed, and just be calm, the snake will generally be calm. The only exception to the rule is when the snakes are mating, they're territorial. And that's the browns and the tigers. They are a bit how you're going when they're mating.
Excellent. Well, it's getting late here, Andrew. It's going on 10 o'clock at night. It's 10:06. It's 6 after 2 there. You've been on with us with Dano and I for 2.5 hours now. You've been outstanding guest. I thank you very much, sir, for joining us. I'm sure you probably have things you'd like to get to, or things your wife would like you to get to, since it's
Put on your head out
Pardon
loud.
me?
We weren't supposed to say that out loud.
Oops. See, now if you had your headsets on, you wouldn't have heard.
It's been good. It's been great being on the show. Thanks to all the people that have been watching. Thanks for the comments. Glad I could help some people out. I'm sure there's going to be more opportunities later on down the track. We're going to have to get Dave Buckle on from Tasmania because I think he's a good character. And you'll also have to get Chris of Vegas on too.
Yeah, I've been talking to Chris over on Facebook. just need to work out something sort of like you and I, with the time difference and the days. But yeah, I would love to get day visit, you said, from Tasgold, Tasmanian
Da-
Gold,
David Buckle.
and David Buckle. Yeah, if you know how to contact him, if he's on Facebook, send him my way if you would, Andrew. I just heard about him just recently. Um, I just recently found him, actually through another New England prospector who was our guest just a couple weeks ago, Adam from Massachusetts. He was
Uh,
talking about him. Yeah,
hey,
AU Ant-Man. Uh,
yep, I've been chatting with Adam there for a fair while now. So he's on the move. He's on the move. He's moving to another goldfield area.
Yep,
yeah,
Arizona.
well, it sounds like he's leaning more towards California now, Dano.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, yeah, you're right, Ron. He was a really cool guy. You're welcome, D-Nam. Um, it's our pleasure bringing our community even closer together with and making new friends worldwide. That's our mission, right, Dano?
That's all right. It's
Yep.
nice hearing different prospecting aspects from different parts of the world.
He's doing
Yes.
doing a great job.
Yes. Oh, cool, Ron. Cool. Went prospecting with Adam on.
Thanksgiving morning.
Yeah, a Ron Adams with an Adam. Okay. Hey, Adam. Hey, what? Excellent, excellent. Uh, Again, Andrew, sorry Skype didn't have the greatest connection on your end sometimes. Um, but technology, we can only do so much with what we got, right? So,
Exactly
It
right.
wasn't too bad at all. It wasn't too bad. We didn't lose him too much at all.
no,
Pretty good,
yeah,
really.
I I don't know why YouTube signed me out, but it did for a minute there and freaked me out. That's all taken care of. We were streaming poorly for not too long, which is usually happens during the stream, but usually I get back on the green and it's all go. Um, I don't know who will be my next across the pond guest, but that will be in a month or two. I'm always working on it.
Well, hey,
Uh,
remember this Tuesday, it's Jocelyn, or the crazy lamp
yes,
lady's going to be on, people.
yes, the Relic Recoverist, Jocelyn Elizabeth, aka the Crazy Lamp Lady. Like you, Dano, I really like that channel. I really like her antique store shopping and flipping stuff.
Lots of
Um,
information.
yes, sir. And then after that, it's unless we have a surprise attack, it looks like on December 26th, we'll have our friend from Green Mountain Sluice, or Green Mountain Gold Traps, Joseph, from Vermont with us. He'll be calling in and joining us on the 26th. But we have Jovan Hutton Pulitzer, been on Discovery, History Channel, Curse of Oak Island, CNN. He's traveled abroad in search of treasure and uncovering forbidden hidden history. Um, he has a YouTube channel, the History Heretic. He's a pretty cool guy, and I'll do my best. I promise to bring you the best guests I'm capable of. And please hang out just a little bit after I end it totally, if you would, Andrew. But I'd like to say thank you to Gold Prospectors Space and Prospectors Radio. Make sure to catch their show every Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time at goldprospectorspace.com or prospectorsradio.com. They have been very good to me and flash in your pan. And on that note,
And thanks to Gold Claw too.
Oh yeah, Gold Claw
Thanks
too.
to Gold Claw.
But I kind of
Thanks.
messed up on the commercial thingy. You know, I wasn't quite prepared as I am for our Tuesday shows. I was doing quite a bit of multitasking.
That's all right. We hung out today. I cut your time out today. We hung out.
You know, your family, so that's no problem, Dano. Anytime you and Patrick want to come up, or anyone who knows me knows, you know?
Brought you some Christmas goodies and got to hang out in the shed for a little while.
That's right. But again, thank you everyone for joining us, and everyone who's watching the pre-recorded version of this. Thank you very much. Please leave a comment below. If you're not yet a subscriber, please subscribe. Click the bell for notifications. I do have Andrew's channel URL in the description below, along with his Adventure Gold Prospecting page over at Facebook. Check him out. If you're not subscribed to him, again, please go over and subscribe to him. Thank you again all for joining us. May you always have a flash in your pan.
You know what Ed says.
You betcha, Dano. Maybe one day too, we'll meet you on the river.
Thanks for coming, folks.
Yep.
Thank
you very much. Good night, y'all. We didn't do that good night thing like we usually do. Did
Not Ed, boy.
shed within. In the shed.